Dr. Goyal, as you remember, we tried to pin down, and not only in this kind of field, but in many fields, like super select criteria for trials. And now tell us, are we changing our mindset in regard to trials, looking more real world? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's been a lot of effort to think about eligibility criteria to make it as inclusive as possible for patients to join, but also you want to be able to see a signal, so it has to be narrow enough that you're having healthy enough patients to check. I agree with this question about the embolization eligibility. Who's embolization eligible for Riad Salem might be a little bit different than who's embolization eligible for other IRs at different groups. So I think it will be interesting to take a look at the baseline population and see how many tumors, what size of the tumors, the location of the tumors, and just see if there are any differences by that information. Glad overall that it included, it was a global study, including many different centers, and include all etiologies and et cetera. This study, I believe, did not include Child-Pugh B7.
But they can make it B7A6 very easily. It's like magic.
Ghassan, that's because you're a hepatologist and an oncologist all in one. I did want to make one comment about the PFS-OS question.
Yeah, sure.
While the curves are unlikely to flip, I agree that if they're going to flip, it seems like it's more early on rather than later on. The hazard ratio was 0.70, and the upper limit of the hazard ratio in the range was 0.95. And so I look forward to seeing the more mature data. As you were saying, it's about 45% mature, to see if that hazard ratio remains significant or if the curves come together with time to see if there's a difference. I think the big question for all of us is now or later, as Stephen Chan, expressed in the discussion today, if there continues to be an overall survival benefit and that hazard ratio continues to be significant, great, then potentially we can think about having a new standard where we all give Durva and Tremi up front, then have TACE, and then continue the Durva. If the curves come together, or if that overall survival benefit does not seem clinically meaningful, then I think this idea of having these patients in Dr. Salem's hands, get the TACEs, and then come see all of us as medical oncologists 1 year later or 2 years later. And, even though having Durvalumab once a month is less time intensive than some other regimens that are more frequent, it's still this feeling I feel for patients that they're tethered to a geography and to a location because they have to come in once a month to get infusions. And so the trend looks very encouraging, and, we're always trying to make advances to improve survival in the intermediate stage setting, because for a long time we've mainly had liver-directed therapy. But I also love it when our patients can just be in the hands of our IR doctors and don't need to come see us, because that's less time toxicity for them in our clinics.
Fair enough.